What it means to me to be part of the Ring of Honor is to join a fraternity of guys that I admire and respect. My family history is important, and it's been part of East High for a long time. My grandfather, Big Son Flowers, all the way through the Moses brothers, through my brothers, Norm, Will, and Cornelius. And just growing up as a kid, as a Trojan, has meant a lot. So this award has been very special, very meaningful, and I'll cherish it for a lifetime.
Well, it's a very special honor. I feel special from having them bring me in. Timing is everything, and this timing just worked out great. Favorite memory in football would have to be when we played Cedar Falls as a senior, and with all the weight of the 54 victories string going on, and we squeaked by them 25-24, and I got the last touchdown.
I feel very honored and I'm very thankful for this honor. East High is a very special place for me. I grew here, I became a man here, and it wasn't all about sports, even though sports was very important to me. Some of my greatest memories was the things that the coaches told me that I learned and I understood and I carried with me through life. And as I stand here today, I'm just thankful, and I wish I could see them to say, look them in the face and say thank you, because at the time they were telling me things and building character in me, I didn't completely understand it, but I do today, and I'm very thankful for that.
It's a big honor, once in a lifetime thing. It's kind of unexpected, but it is special. There's no doubt about it. I remember getting off the bus when I was a senior for the first time. That was so. This is what it's all about. That was going through my mind. Put in the hard work, and you stand there at the gate, getting off the bus at Sloan Wallace, and it's a big deal.
This is a privilege, a big honor. Really can't describe in words what it means to me. I mean, it means a lot to my family also. I can say they're here to support me with this. So I can just say I'm just grateful for this, and I'm truly blessed to be here.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our annual Ring of Honor ceremony, or as we call it sometimes, Soul Yoga 101 with his heat box. I want to thank Mr. Shavers and East High, Ms. Pageant, custodians, get everything set up here. It's great to have it at East High School. And not only is Mr. Shavers our athletic director, but he's also a former football player on the 1986 state playoff and Big 8 championship. So again, Mr. Shavers, good to see you and thank you. We are also honoring our Ring of Honor members today, but they'll tell you as well as anybody else, and these guys too, they can't do it by themselves. And I know there's some other East High football players in the audience here. So if you have ever put on the orange and black, played football for East, could you please stand up? Former East High football players. I see Kendall Deal, Billy Ray Jones, a few other people, Kevin Jackson, Will Montgomery. Great to see you. Also want to recognize a few dignitaries in our audience. Very happy to have Dr. Jane Lindeman, the superintendent of schools. Just stepped out a second, but she was here. We also have the principal of East High School, Ms. Marla Pageant. If you'd like to stand up, Ms. Pageant. Also, former athletic director and administrator for 17 years at East High School, Mr. Don Blau. And former administrator Steve Gillen in the audience. Mr. Gillen. I do want to say congratulations to Xavier Leonard, his staff, his football players for their successful start to the season this year. Wish them the best of luck tomorrow night against Dubuque Hempstead and continue the success that they have got going. I'd also like to mention the Ring of Honor support towards East High School. We appreciate what East High is doing towards the Ring of Honor. We like to give back to them. We have two ongoing projects. One is the brick walkway. As you walk in out here, you can purchase a brick. Mike Allen has some information for that over there. And we have a DVD, which we had made, that you have 8 coaches, 34 players telling their favorite East High memories, and they're for sale over there also. So please consider getting that, because the money from that does not go to the Ring of Honor. It goes to East High School. So please keep that in mind. I also want to give a big thank you, a huge thank you to the East High Golf Outing. Those gentlemen, the golf outing, those of you playing that golf outing, it's important because they helped us with the money to buy the shirts, the plaques, the frames, and those polos don't fall out of the tree. That is cost, so we have to pay for that. So Tim Moses, Lynette Lee, Brian Pearson, Dale Wilson, we want to thank them. And I hope you enjoy the food here, because he don't want to say anything, but he's flying on the radar. But the whole meal was bought, catered, delivered by Mike Allen, and he took it upon himself to make sure we had food here today. So Mike Allen, thank you. Now, as we get going, some of you we've always had this question like, the Ring of Honor, what is that? What exactly is the Ring of Honor? When it gets started, what's the purpose, what's going on with this? So at this time, I'd like to read a mission statement for you so we can clarify just exactly what's going on. The Ring of Honor has been established to recognize former outstanding East High football players who've excelled during their playing career at East High School. This select group of former Trojans will have made major contributions to the success of East High School football and brought positive recognition to the program from their outstanding achievements on the gridiron for the orange and black. The common denominator for all members of the Ring of Honor is knowing that regardless of the year they played or the achievements of the team they played on, they share an equal status. Once identified, all Ring of Honor inductees attain a lifetime membership. Each member never graduates, never goes on the injured reserve list, is always eligible, never moves out of the district, and never transfers. This is one of the highest honors an East High football player can attain. This was established in 2005. This is our 13th year in existence. 86 members have been inducted so far, and with tonight's 7 new members, we are proud to announce a grand total of 93 and counting. Now, to the best of our knowledge, there is no other school in the state that remembers, recognizes, and acknowledges the rich history, heritage, tradition of their football program like East Waterloo High School. At this time, we'd like to introduce the members in attendance, but first let's take a moment of silence in remembrance of those members who are no longer with us. Carl Anderson, Craig Atkins, Fred Becker, Carlisle Bixby, Frank Bloomquist, Don Buck, Don Buzzard, William Big Son Flowers, Mike Hewitt, Manny Holmes, Reggie Roby, Pete Ross, Leonard Raffensberger, John Tidor, John Wagner, Roger Stevens, John Hollingsworth, and most recently, a devastating loss, Jerry Moses. Thank you. Now this time, let's introduce the ones that are here as we can recognize them. Ring of Honor members, as we call your name, just please stand up and wave, and camera's right over there, so if you want to be photogenic, make sure you look into the camera. All right? Especially you, Payne, I know how you like to get them. All right, starting with our quarterbacks. Starting quarterback on the #1 ranked football team in the state in 1973, he led East to the state playoffs for the first time in history. The efficient field general who was all Big Five and all state honorable mention, 2013 inductee Craig Carper. Starting at quarterback for the 1970 state championship team, his pinpoint passing resulted in over 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns through the air, and his elusive running was for 250 more yards. Voted All-Metro, All-Conference, the general in charge and totally respected by all his teammates, 2007 inductee John, I finally got here, Dunn. First team All-State for East High ranked football team. He passed for more yardage than any quarterback in East football history for a single season, completing 74 passes and 117 attempts for 1,400 yards, 2013 inductee Paul Owen. Let us go to our running backs. Find him here. Tailback, fullback on East, back-to-back conference titles and state playoff berths, and later a key member of Iowa Hawkeyes football team, which participated in 4 postseason bowls, included the Covenant Rose Bowl. High school All-American Lou Montgomery. Carry on the tradition of outstanding tailbacks at East, he led the Trojans to their first-time playoff appearance in 1973 while earning first-team All-State and All-American honors, starting his college career at the University of Minnesota and ending it on a winning note at UNI, 2006 inductee Norm Montgomery. That's right, Norm. Make sure you hit the camera there. Okay. Combining speed, power, agility when carrying the football, in addition to being a deadly weapon, catching the ball out of the backfield, he was the main threat on an offense that led East to 2 straight state championships, a first-team All-Stater his junior and senior season, 2005 inductee Neil Moses. Let us get to our ends. The bone-crushing blocker at tight end, he opened huge gaps on East's traditional powers and sweeps and helped lead East to the 1968 state championship, earning him All-Metro, All-State recognition. 2012 inductee Mike Watkins. Let us move on to our linebackers. The hard-hitting outside linebacker for the Big 8 championship and state playoff team, earning All-Metro, All-Conference, and honorable mention All-State, and later serving as a volunteer coach in various youth programs as an outstanding mentor. 2016 inductee Orrington Gardner II. Offensive guard and middle linebacker on East state-ranked football teams in 1963 and 1964. An all Big 5 selection and later a most valuable mentor and coach in the Waterloo school system for over 33 years, guiding players to successful high school athletic accomplishments. 2013 inductee Rod Payne. Earning All-Metro, All-Conference, and honorable mention All-State his junior and senior year at linebacker, he led East to the playoffs twice in the late 1980s while also playing tight end. This versatile player was voted most valuable athlete at East by his peers and is now helping coach East softball team. 2014 inductee Scott Rowe. The unblockable outside linebacker who played to the strong side, forcing most opponents to steer their offense to the weak side due to his dominance to shut down the run and pass, an All-Metro, All-Conference selection, 2014 inductee Adonis Smith. All right, let us move to the defensive backs. This hit-seeking missile out of the East defensive backfield as strong safety could cover the run and pass with equal success. Named first-team All-Metro and All-Conference, his play elevated East to the 1986 playoffs and later becoming an assistant coach for the East varsity football team. 2010 inductee Dave Magnuson. The shutdown physical defensive back on the 1977-78 East successful and state-ranked teams, a 2-year starter at cornerback and tailback. He continued his football career at University of Iowa before injuries ended his playing days. 2016 inductee Jeff Smith. Let us go to the linemen. Starting guard and defensive end for East teams in 1966 and 1967, his dominating presence and outstanding blocking ability was a big factor to an explosive offense which led East to 2 straight state championships, All-Metro, All-Conference, and first-team All-Stater, one of East High's biggest athletic boosters, Mike Allen. Leading East to an undefeated regular season record in 1973 and #1 ranking in the state by his command of the offensive line and center. Very efficient, very effective, earning All-Metro, All-Conference, and All-State recognition. 2015 inductee Steve Elfritz. The key blocker on the offensive line and holding a huge physical presence at outside linebacker, paving the way for East to win Big 8 championships and state playoff berths in 1986 and 1987. An All-State first-team selection, 2005 inductee Sean Hewitt. A 2-year starter and All-Metro selection, in addition to earning All-Conference in 1991 and 1992, and third-team All-State selection. Helped lead East to the state playoffs while also being recognized as an academic All-Stater. Later returned to East to coach football and baseball as a valuable coach. 2016 inductee Travis Thorson. The Pittsburgh Steeler-like center that propelled East's offensive line to a dominant running offense, which led them to conference championships and semifinals in 1979. The man who left defensive nose guards black and blue after playing against him for a game. Later, a standout collegiate star at Simpson College, 2011 inductee Brian Jones. Starting offensive guard for East 1971 state championship team that featured a lethal offense and continued his successful leadership and football skills at Wartburg College's nationally ranked football team. The former golden voice of KBB Radio, 2012 inductee Walter Reed. Hey Peyton, can you turn the heat up a little bit? Anyway. The Stallion in the line for East, back-to-back Big 8 championship and state playoff teams in the late 80s, voted All-Metro, All-Conference, and first-team All-State. The quiet man opposing defenses didn't want blocking them. 2007 inductee Larry Tees. The rock-solid anchored offensive and defensive tackle for Coach Vernon's first 2 football teams, having success in football at East and later Upper Iowa University. His leadership skills continued as an effective and outstanding assistant principal at East High School for over 30 years. 2008 inductee Tom Thorson. Playing in the trenches, going both ways as an offensive tackle and defensive nose, solidifying both sides of the ball and helping East secure its 3rd straight state championship in 1968, being named All-State selection. 2007 inductee Cole Southworth. Let us move on to our coaches. Teaching and coaching at Logan Junior High for 33 years, the firm but fair mentor and biggest supporter of hundreds of future East High football players and later important member of the East High football coaching staff, 2011 inductee Marv DeWard. Assistant coach at East from 1971 to 1975, working with the offensive and defensive backs, helped lead them to the 1971 state championship and a #1 ranking in 1973. In addition to being an outstanding teacher in the mathematics department, 2016 inductee Lowell Grunwald. Starting his East coaching resume at Logan Junior High and on to East as a sophomore coach and later varsity assistant. His dedication to East football and desire to make every player better as a student, athlete, and valuable contributor to society, the man who bleeds orange and black eternally, 2007 inductee Mike Sheely. This coach was the professor of the offensive line, instructing his East players how to do it the right way during the week and seeing them pass the test each Friday night, propelling an East offense that dominated its opponents. His coaching record while an assistant at East for 6 years was an astounding 49 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. 2010 inductee Larry Van Ort. And the Godfather, during his 18-year career as head coach, he led East to numerous conference championships, playoff appearances, and a state championship in 1971. He has accumulated more wins than any other head football coach at East High School history. Inducted into the Iowa Coaches Hall of Fame, 2013 inductee Roger Kettleson. Now, unless somebody slipped in, did I miss anybody? Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is the greatest former football coaches and players in the state of Iowa in one place at one time for one occasion. Let's hear it for the East High Football Hall of Fame Ring of Honor members. Okay, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and start to do our introductions. And our first inductee is out of a memorial, Joey McCraney. I have his biography as submitted by his family. Joey McCraney was a member of the East High Trojan football team from 1996 until 1999, playing fullback, middle linebacker, quarterback, kicker, and punter for the Trojans. After graduating in the spring of 2000, he attended North Iowa Area Community College, NIAC, with the notion of playing football. During fall practice his freshman year, he sustained a knee injury which ended his playing career. Due to that unfortunate injury, he decided to move back to Waterloo and enrolled at Hawkeye Community College. After attending one semester at each school, he decided that college was not for him and he began a plumbing apprenticeship at Bergen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. He worked for Bergen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling for a number of years and used that opportunity as a stepping stone to move into positions at Ferguson Enterprise as an installer at Culligan and a maintenance mechanic at Tyson Foods. He was very proud of his position at John Deere's and was extremely happy with his career choice at the time of his unexpected passing. He married his high school sweetheart, Marcia Montier McCraney, on September 19, 2009. He has 3 children, a daughter, Kendall, 2 sons, Keegan and Kinnick. He was a very devoted father, husband, son, brother, and uncle. His personality was infectious. Once you met him, you were a friend, and he was always willing to lend a hand, an ear, and poke some fun, good-natured fun. Joey passed away unexpectedly on September 21st, 2014. He is greatly missed by those who knew him and loved him and would be greatly honored and humbled by this prestigious honor. Now, I just want to mention real quick, if you caught this, that he played middle linebacker and quarterback. Now, I don't know how many guys in East High have done that. So it'd be like Rod Payne. You're playing middle linebacker. Are you going to go for 1,000 yards on offense? I don't think so. Craig Carper, you're playing quarterback. How would our defense be if you were a middle linebacker? I don't know. But he is the one guy who could do it. And here to accept on his behalf is his dad, Joe, and his high school sweetheart, Marcia. The East High Football Hall of Fame is proud to welcome into the Ring of Honor 2017 inductee, Joey McCraney.
On behalf of Joey and our family, I'd like to thank the East High Ring of Honor for recognizing Joey and inducting him with the 2017 class. This is truly a great honor. I only wish that he was here with us tonight to accept this honor himself. Joey was one of a kind, as a football player and as a person. Football was his passion. He was the type of player and person most coaches hope for. That was evident his senior year when he stepped in and started at 4 different positions each game: quarterback, middle linebacker, kicker, and punter. His priorities as a player were always his teammates and what was best for the team. He was always willing to step up and do whatever was necessary to get a win. A few moments from his senior year come to mind where playing for family became his motivation. In the game against West High, Joey's brother Jason was injured and had to be taken to the hospital. As Jason was leaving the field, he told him that he would win the game for him. Unfortunately, they came up a little short that game, but it was not due to a lack of effort on his part. Another instance that stands out vividly is the night of the Dubuque Hempstead game. His grandfather Casey had just passed away, and Joey still went on to play that night in his honor. He ended up making the winning field goal. It was his first make of the season, and it couldn't have come at a more special time for him. That kick was a story that he told on many occasions and was one of the highlights of his playing career. While Joey was a great high school football player, he was an even greater person. People were always drawn to him. He was always at the center of the action. Once you met him, he considered you a friend. He was the type of person that would go out of his way to help if he saw a need. While he may no longer be with us in body, his spirit still lives on, especially in his children. Joey was always a social butterfly, and you couldn't go anywhere without him running into at least a handful of people he knew. His daughter Kendall is following along in those footsteps. She is very much as social as he was. She has never met anyone whom she didn't consider a friend and goes above and beyond to help when needed. Our son Keegan not only looks a lot like his father, but has the same drive and passion for his interests as Joey did. He is always very passionate about what he does and is competitive at everything. Sometimes that fire and drive would get them into trouble, but that they would make up for it in the softness and caring that they show when they do things just because. And last but not least, we have our youngest son, Kennick. Unfortunately, I was pregnant with Kennick when Joey passed away, and he was never able to meet his father. We have made sure that he fully knows and understands who Joey was. He may only be 2, but he definitely has his sense of humor, and he likes to joke around. Joey was known to always have a story about everything. Kennick is already a storyteller, and I can be sure that trait will continue to grow. Joey receiving this honor tonight is one more way that our children can learn who he was and what he loved and achieved, since he is not here to share those memories with them. I can only hope that with the help of our families, they grow up to be great people just like him. Finally, I'd like to say a special thank you to Joe and Cindy McCraney for raising such a great son and accepting me into their family. I know that Joey would be extremely proud to share this moment with them. Thank you, Ring of Honor Committee, for this honor. It is truly an achievement that will be treasured forever.
Just joining us from his track practice, do not want to be remiss, but one of the top leaders of our program for many, many years, Mr. Tim Moses. Thank you for making it. Our next inductee is our Coaches Award, which is Larry Jones. Larry was a teacher in the Waterloo schools for 40 years and coached multiple sports at Bunger Junior High and East High School from 1968 to 1999. Larry was the 9th grade football coach at Bunger, which was essentially an East freshman team, for 13 years from 1968 to 1981, when freshmen were added to the high school. He moved to East and was an assistant sophomore football coach from 1981 to 1985, working with the offensive and defensive lines, laying the foundation for future successful varsity teams. Those of you who knew Larry, you couldn't find anyone who had a bad word for him, or had a thought or experience. He was the type of coach that you would love to have your son be coached by him. Larry is the father of multiple East athletes. Andrew, a 1987 East graduate, Brian, a 1980 graduate and Ring of Honor member, and Paul, the 1984 graduate and Ring of Honor member, who is accepting on his behalf. The East High Football Hall of Fame is proud to welcome into the Ring of Honor 2017 inductee, Coach Larry Jones.
So, gotta put this up, I guess. So I'm accepting this. Can you hear? Does it need to be up? All right. I'm accepting this on behalf of Larry Jones, who is my stepdad. We have his son Brian Jones here, his daughter Brenda, my sister, his sister Carol, my aunt, and so those of you, if you know Larry, you undoubtedly know Brian as well, and you may be wondering, well, why is Paul up here and not Brian? What are you saying? Closer to the mic? It's just not quite tall enough. All right, I'll do that. Better? Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know. So if you're wondering why Brian isn't up here, well, he and I wrestled for it. And as usual, since we were kids, when we wrestled, you know, I kicked his butt again. And so that's the way it is. But, so Brian, so you know, because I am doing this, I get to tell the story. That's why we have that reality. So for the next, 15 minutes or so, we'll just say that that's the truth. But yeah, I'm kidding. I'm not going to set another Ring of Honor length of speech record. So you can feel good about that. But I do want to share a few thoughts about my dad's impact and his legacy. So if I'm going to start and tell you anything about his impact, I got to start with myself, because that's the story I'm most familiar with. So my dad married my mom in 1976. I was 10 years old. And by that time, we'd been living without a father for a good 4 years, and the house was chaotic. I have two older brothers, or an older brother and older sister that were deep into teenage years and already showing the scars of not having a father, on their way to dropping out. And I could have well been on that same path. But Larry moved in, and he stabilized the house, and he added order to the house and set me on a good path. And so one thing I want to make sure you know is that I always perceived from the very beginning that Larry was my dad. He's not my stepdad, he's my dad. So, but anyway, one of the main ways that he helped me out and put me on a good path was through introducing me to East High, well, athletics in general, but East High athletics and the tradition that was already well established. And the way he did that was, first of all, getting us to games. And so 76, the first football season, we started going all the varsity games and the sophomore games, because he was coaching Bunger. We mentioned that, and as you know, it's a feeder school. So basically, he was coaching the 9th grade, the freshman team for East. And I feel like I have a lot in common with him. Like, I came through a small school, and they had small numbers. It seemed like they had to really overachieve, work really hard just to be able to compete. But they did that, and he was able to instill confidence in them, and he did the same for me. Helped us set a dream in front of me. Another way that I know he impacted his student athletes is through the years, 30 plus years, as I meet people from East, out in reunions or whatever, we might be talking for just a few minutes, and then they'll ask me, how's your dad? How's Coach Jones? How's Mr. Jones? And you know that he was able to make connections that transcended sports, that transcended the classroom. Just always stayed very positive, help people to see their potential, and if nothing else, to have a good experience through athletics. Now about his legacy, I just wanted to say that I know that there's been at least one other effort to, while he was alive. By the way, he passed just this last April, and a lot of you attended the funeral or saw the visitation. Thank you for that support. But he was, lost track here for a sec. Oh, he was asked, his name came up as far as being inducted into the Ring of Honor, and each time he declined. And he just didn't feel like he was worthy of it, that he deserved it. And I think, it wasn't a false humility. He wasn't just being humble because you're supposed to be humble. He really, I think, felt that he didn't deserve it because he hadn't coached at the varsity level, and he hadn't coached at the high school level for that many years. And whether that's valid or not, he really wanted to be known more for another legacy. And I think the best way to sum that up is what I think he tried to teach me. And that's this: that real men love Jesus. And they love their mothers, and they love their wives, and they love their fellow man. And if a person can strive to do that, then they got a good shot at handling anything that comes upon them in life. Larry Jones strove to do that. Larry Jones was a real man. But I do want to say that he was so proud of being affiliated with East High from the time from going to school here and competing in athletics to all the years coaching. He loved East High. It's what made him stay up late, come back from a road trip, and still do the basketball coaching statistics and think about what he could have done differently. It's what drove him to spend so many extra hours manicuring the baseball field, things like that. He probably could have went to other places, other opportunities, but he chose not to. He didn't even explore them. So I know that it means East High was enough for him. But that said, he would have been very honored to receive this recognition, and because of that, I'm very happy to accept it on his behalf. So thank you very much.
Those who are really getting hot, forgot to mention that there is an after ceremony gathering at the Fraternal Order of the Eagles that you may want to come on down there and maybe make this not so hot. So Please consider that when we are done. Now, let us move on to our inductees that are here. And personally, one of the fun things for me is getting to introduce them, because I either knew them when they were in school here or had the opportunity to coach them. So I got a little extra story to throw on them as we get going here. Our first inductee is Steve Dullard. He was a starting fullback and linebacker for 2 years on East State Championship teams in 1970 and 1971. His senior year, he had 875 yards rushing. And you might like, is that all? Well, he also had 2 Ring of Honor guys in the backfield with him, Tracy Greer, who got over 1,000 yards, and Neil Moses, who got 9,000 yards. So getting 875, Steve was really good. He recorded 55 solo tackles, had 3 interceptions while being named All-State. He attended William Penn College in Oskaloosa, got to play in the NAIA Bowl game, where his team was nationally ranked. After college, he started work in the railroad repair shop in Chicago Heights. In the last 15 years, worked for BNSF Railroad as a conductor. He has also been a deacon in his church and youth director the past 10 years. Steve says his favorite football memory would have to be the game against Cedar Falls his senior year. Both teams are ranked 1 and 2 in the state. Great teammates provided the streak to live on. Personally had 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards in the game. Over 10,000 fans were at that game at Onslow and Wallace Field. Now the story I remember, and maybe some of you don't, but you football players here in the Ring of Honor, how many of you remember the tradition we used to have called Bowl in the Ring or Circle Up? Okay? Yeah. Now, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, the coaches used to get together at about the 3rd practice after you had contact, and it would just get you in a circle, and they would call out a couple people's names to come out and square up against each other. And it was just like 2 bulls, 2 locomotives going at each other. Bam, 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 bam. Chest against chest, you know? And they always try to match up the junior incumbent against the senior. Well, when we were juniors, I thought it was an epic battle watching Brad Jennings and Dan Lake, who was at fullback and middle linebacker, going at each other. And they'd go about 4, 5, 6, 7 hits, bam, 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 bam. And then the coaches blow the whistle, all right, get out. Next guy, get up. Now remember, I had Greg Ferguson. So he called out there, we just kind of went shoulder bump, shoulder bump. Oh, I got time for this, man. But the big boys got out there and they didn't mess around. And so it came down to Steve Dullard, who was a junior, and Dan Lake, who was a senior. And they came out and everybody, ooh, ooh, ooh. And they went at it. Bam, 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 bam. 5, 6, 7 times. We looked at the coaches, Van Orton, Kettleson. That whistle didn't move. Let them keep going, man. And I tell you, I think we might have set the standard for the MMA back then, because that's like an octagon. And they just pounded each other. And after a while, then they finally blew the whistle. And the coaches were smart enough that say, hey, if they both can't play middle linebacker, we'll move one to outside linebacker, which was Steve Dullard. And we had Raymond Shepard at the other one. And I tell you what, our linebacker core was pretty damn good that year. And so, just a reference, you know, they wanted the big physical guys to really hit. But the guys they wanted to protect, that whistle was quick. Right, John Dunn? They called out the quarterbacks, and they no sooner touched hands, and it was one hit, tweet, we're done, get out. Quarterbacks, we're not hurting them, and John couldn't wait to get out of that circle. Anyway, the East High Football Hall of Fame is proud to welcome into the Ring of Honor 2017 inductee Steve Dullard.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me clear off my glasses, because Charlie said it'd be nice and cool, wear a jacket. And I think we ought to reenact The Boys Swim Naked again. Remember that, some of you guys? That was a tough part of life. A lot of you might not have known that, but I do. And we had to do that. And the girls got to wear suits. Lucky dogs. I'd like to thank the committee for selecting me for this special honor. And truly it is a special honor because I look out amongst you guys and the hordes of others that aren't here that I just have a lot of respect for. It's great to be back here at East to see the improvements. I got to see the weight room back when I was here 5 years ago for our reunion. And I remember we used to lift weights back in a corner in the furnace room back where the wrestlers warmed up with a couple 2 or 3 5-pound weights. It was about all we had back then. It was great, and it's great to be back with all the friends I see and all the teammates I see. They're very special to me, although we lost contact in life, and that's just is one of the part of the things that happens. I want to give a special thanks to a good friend of mine named Kevin Jackson. Kevin, stand up. Kevin told me when he called me and said, I can't tell you what this is about, but you're going to get a phone call and yada, yada. And I think you'll like it, he said. He said, I've been throwing your name out there for a lot of years, and you can't hardly not like somebody that's that good of a friend that will do that for you. I also want to thank my family and friends that came out tonight to be here to share this special time. Some of them had to travel back with us from Chicago today, and then we got to get back because we got waiting for us, a football game for grandson, a softball game for a granddaughter, and a basketball game for a granddaughter. So they keep us busy. My wife and 4 daughters have been there to support me, and as well as hear stories and see scrapbook pictures till their eyes are rolling back. And when Charlie called me, it was Charlie-O. And you probably don't know what that means, but I remember in practices back then, Cedar Falls had some kind of special defense, and when you hear Charlie-O, here's what we're going to do. And Charlie, of course, got that name from that. The hard to believe that it's been 45 years since we got to play and practice out in Vine Street Stadium over here. And we were at Sloan Wallace back then. But still today, I got to tell you, still today, when it turns fall and that first little cold air comes up, I smell it. There's something out there that I smell. And maybe it's being able to see Walter opening a hole on a 41 trap, or Bob on a 42 trap, or getting to knock ends out for Neil or Tracy. That was fun. I'm telling you, that was the best of times, and you just can't get past that. I can't. And I think maybe a lot of you share that with me, or you wouldn't be here. It was just great. And beyond that, you got to push beyond that. And this is for the principal that's here. I always believed that East gave me a chance to shoot for excellence in my life. Back in our days, of those 69 to 72 when I graduated, we had some tough times, riots, racial tensions going on. But you know, one bond that we had that couldn't be broken was inside that team locker room. You couldn't break it. I remember getting on the buses when we were done with a game, and what was our chant? We are black and white. Hey, we are black and white. And we scared people with that because they, oh my God, they're going to burn everything down. We could do it. In the football area of our lives, we could do that. And that was a great time, a very appreciative time. I mean, I even remember the fear that schools would put on us when we went into Mason City, when we went into Fort Dodge. Who meets us at the edge of town? Highway Patrol to let our bus in. make sure we get out. It was a kind of a good fear to have, I guess, because it held on. Then came the game that Charlie mentioned was my favorite against Cedar Falls that year. They had a very good team. They had us by the throats. And I remember looking back on the bench when I went over to the sideline, and here's these guys from a couple years older than us. You ain't gonna lose this game and get out of here too easily. And that was a heck of a motivational thing that they did for us, because I think it was Tony Green got the interception, and I was lucky enough to get that touchdown at the end, and man, I got beat up worse from the accolades of the people coming onto the field. It was great. It was just a great time. And East helped me to prepare for my life's challenges, because we all have challenges. I've had them, and I'm sure you guys have had them too. And it prepared me. The teachers that we had, they taught you real life teaching back then. I believe it really was. This is what it is, and this is the way you're going to do it. And I appreciated that. And today, as I stand here before you again, I thank you. And as they had me say on the film set earlier, well, for me, it's once a Trojan, always a Trojan. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee is Andre Galloway, quarterback on East 1991 state playoff team. He ran and passed for over 1,500 yards his senior season and was over second most passing single season yards in East High football history, while being selected All-Metro, All-Conference, and All-State. He left to go to St. Ambrose College before getting injured. He has returned to Waterloo and is now a behavior intervention specialist at Cunningham School of Excellence. He also is a great mentor and coach at Carver Middle School in football, boys basketball, girls basketball, and track. Talking with Coach Jones, a really good story that we really enjoyed sharing with you is Andre's senior season is when we made the switch when Coach Kettleson retired and Coach Jones came in and took over the helms of the football program. And Andre was a senior at that time. And many of you know, in the old days, we ran the slot T offense. Well, we wanted to run the slot T offense, and we kind of wanted to run the pro-style offense. So the first game, we thought we'd do them both, and see if he could pick it up, and he did fine. But we lost that game to Heelan. It was still disappointing. And Coach Jones, in his very polite way, said, we ain't running both these offenses. So we went to the wide open offense and did the spread out. So we played East Sioux City the next game, and I remember Coach Jones coming up for the game in reference to Andre and says, well, you think we're going to be all right? This is a pretty good game. They're just running out. You think we're going to be all right? You think he's going to be okay? Is he going to be okay? Yeah. Well, we played East Sioux City, and their cornerbacks were back in what we call a cover three, way backed off. We had Cedric Robinson at one receiving spot, Adonis Smith at the other receiving spot, Craig Roby in the middle, and Andre would just step back there, throw a quick 2-yard pass, quick hitch, quick out. They catch a 2-yard pass, take off and run for 20, 25 yards because they had such a big cushion. And Andre had that smile on his face like, this is that easy? Just bam, bam. He goes, yeah, that's 25-yard reception. It's a 2-yard pass, 23-yard run, but, and so it was going well. Well, at halftime, East Sioux City said enough of this, so they changed coverages. And they rolled up in what we call as a cover two, and they put their cornerbacks right up on the line of scrimmage with our backs. And he went to throw an out, and he looked and goes, damn, I can't do that right there. And he had this bewildered look like, what do we do? So he came off to the side, and he's never done this before. So we explained how you beat him. Well, Adonis, you take off up the sideline here. Cedric, you off the sideline there. Roby, you go down the middle. We're going to send 3 guys deep. They only got 2 to cover in. You just pitch and catch, whichever guy's open. So without ever doing this in practice, picking it up at halftime, he came back and just torched him. We looked over at the defense coordinator from East Sioux City and I'm like, damn, Jesus, now what? So I looked over at Coach Jones and I go, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. We're okay. We're in good hands. Not only we're in good hands, he took us to win that game, took us the rest of the season for a successful season, and took us to the playoffs in an epic game, an overtime game in the Unidome against West. At this time, the East High Football Hall of Fame is proud to welcome into the Ring of Honor 2017 inductee Andre Galloway.
First of all, I'd like to say all glory goes to God. And then I would like to thank the committee for giving me this honor. I want to tell a story about, because my senior year, my mom wasn't going to allow me to play football. I can remember that like it was yesterday. So one day, because I broke my collarbone and I fractured my arm my junior year. So she wasn't up for that football stuff. So I can remember Coach Jones saying, are you going to play football? I said, are you going to talk to my mom? Because I'm thinking in my head, I asked her too many times and I got cussed out too many times, so she can cuss somebody else out now. But Coach Jones was smart. He came to my house with reinforcements. So I was thinking maybe all of them going to get cussed out. But she didn't cuss any of them out. They convinced her to let me play. And I just want to say, Mom, thank you for always being there for me. I love you. It's been difficult because a little while back, my brother got killed. So, you know, I mean, I haven't been the same since he's been gone, but this is something I got to deal with and I will push on. And I just want to say, Mom, I love you, and to my family, I love all y'all too. First of all, I want to say I graduated a couple years ago. Oh, I'm sorry, 1992. And like Mr. Aldridge said, I played quarterback for the 1991 playoff-bound Trojans. I was all Big East selection, all Metro selection, and honorable mention All-State. I don't know who blew that vote, because I should have been All-State. After graduating, I went to St. Ambrose, a small college in Davenport. But before I can get my football career going in college, I tore my shoulder up. So I decided to stop playing. So currently I am living in Waterloo with the love of my life, Tracy Caesar, my 2 daughters, Natrasia Caesar, who goes to West High, blame her mom, Jemiah Caesar, who goes to Cunningham. And then, like you said, I currently work at Cunningham School as a behavioral specialist. I coach football, I coach basketball, I coach track, and I coach girls basketball. And by the way, we beat Pete yesterday. So you can see a lot of my time is devoted to our kids in this community and trying to steer them in the right direction, because they can easily get pointed in the wrong direction. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate this. And go Trojans.
Our next inductee is Dennis Hankner. Dennis was a quarterback for the 1969 East State Championship team. He passed for over 1,300 yards and was an all-state selection. He is the third all-time passer in East High single-season history, behind Paul Owen, behind Andre Galloway, and he is the 3rd all-time passer. Now, the thing people talk about Dennis is that, you know, you hear that term as a game controller, a game manager, a quarterback, but yet you don't think of him how well he did. And to throw for over 1,300 yards when you had a Ring of Honor backfield of Mike Woodley at slot back, Carl Anderson at fullback, Jerry Moses at tailback, Paul and Andre, I don't know how many times you'd be throwing the ball with those guys in your backfield. And to get that and to throw the two Hall of Fame Ring of Honor candidates, Mike Watkins and Andrew Robinson, I think you'd want to be a game manager quarterback too. Not only is he all-state, but he's also the quarterback of a state championship football team. And the East High Football Hall of Fame is proud to welcome into the Ring of Honor 2017 inductee Dennis Hankner.
Well, I got to stand a little closer, I guess. Seems like to me that it's awful big fuss. I feel like a small crumb. This big basket of food and healthy food and all this. Just a small little crumb in the big scheme of things. But I don't know about you, but I got memories. I may be losing my hair, or maybe I lost it, but I don't know where it went. But I do remember certain things. I remember taking that hike as a sophomore up to Ferguson Field. Took you about 45 minutes up there. You were as tired as hell, and now you got to go through all this and come back and do it all over again. Remember the first time I went to Vine Street Stadium. Was that an experience? You walk through that door and you're expecting to see the Roman chariots coming around that, and everything was stone. And I remember looking around like, geez, this is where all the greats came through. What an experience. And I remember sitting at Sloan Wallace Stadium in bleachers, sophomore. Varsity bus came up and the screeching of the tires and the air brakes go off, and God, you look over there thinking that maybe one day you could do that. All the greats. So come the sophomore or senior or junior year, getting off that damn bus, following guys, Mr. Allen, thoroughbreds. Let me tell you, what people to follow. I mean, unbelievable. I'm thinking, man, you guys, what a pair of shoes to fill. You got Mr. Allen, Mr. Smith, and Tom Carruthers, and you're on and on and on, you know. So here they are. But the thing I do remember, memories of the coaching staff. I'm looking at two of them right now. They were unbelievable. You couldn't have asked for any better coaches than them. I remember Coach Van Ort trying to teach those guys about pass protection. Quarterback, pass protection, go get them, coach. No, it was Kenny Rosenkrantz, Cole Southworth, Leonard Baskerville, and Tony Brown, and he'd get on them. He said, oh, you grab them like this. This is how you do it. And I'm looking over there. It wasn't that far away, and I said, go get him, coach. Keeps my butt safe. And there was Roger Kittleson, Coach Mr. Kittleson, defensive backs. I remember him standing out there, and they didn't do anything just the way he wanted. And I could hear him say, what the hell are you doing out there? They were perfectionists. They wanted the best. They gave it their all. All they wanted us to do was to meet them halfway. They pulled no punches, and there were a few words said out there like poopy darn and all that good stuff, but it was a great experience. And of course, there was the late Don Buck. To be honest with you, I didn't know him that well. I mean, obviously, he was on the coach, but all the stuff I got was from Mike Watkins. Would tell me what kind of a coach he was, and he did this and he did that, and he was so funny and humorous, but yet you do it his way. That's what I remember. But you know where I'm going with this one. All that was under the umbrella of Coach Vernon. That guy did not miss anything. And I'm telling you, nothing. And it wasn't so much what he said, it's what he didn't say. All he had to do was look at you. A little look to the right, and you feel those beamers coming right at you. Hankner, can't you throw that ball? It's all that had to be said. All of it. Memories. A lot of good memories. The old locker room, standing in mud up to your knees. Wasn't that great? I mean, good God. Filthy. That's all we knew. And by the way, talking about the number one team in the state, I must add, we did not have the number one team in the state. We had the number one and number two. There was a lot of guys. They played behind All-Americans. And if they hadn't played behind them, they could have started on any other team in the state. And that's the gospel truth. Rick Harris. Oh, I could go on and on and on. I mean, it's unbelievable. Coming back in those away games. What an education. Coming back from Fort Dodge. 2.5-hour drive. Yeah, I know. And that bus was rocking. Let me tell you, literally boom to boom to boom. And Mike and I would sit in the front, good God, you know, and Coach Vernon would send one of the assistants back, settle those boys down. They'd go walking back. Boys, you got to keep her down. It lasted about 3 minutes. You hear old Coach Vernon say, the hell with it. They earned it. Let's go back to sleep. And it's stuff like that I remember. But out of all that, there's one thing that I got, and I remember it, and you use it on an everyday basis. And by the way, those two-day practices, you like those, gentlemen? Get out there in that dirt, and hey, you know, you get up in the morning, you do it again and again. The best coaches, they installed in us that one word that I remember anyway. It was desire. You desire to be the best because you're being coached by the best. They just wanted us to fulfill our talent. That's all. Without desire, you have nothing. You don't get up in the morning, you don't shower, you don't eat, you don't do nothing. They installed that in us to be the best you could possibly be. So, a little trip down memory lane. If I had a little extra time, there is one story. There is one. I knew you guys wanted to hear it. I knew you wanted to hear it. Monday nights, bag night, right? On the bags. And those coaches, they wanted it done explicitly. I was a junior, senior, and you ran the bags. If you didn't run it right, you got to do it again, and again, and again. But this is about certain things you see, never hit the papers. Was that I remember like it happened yesterday. I was a junior. So I'm standing over here watching the thoroughbreds play, you know, and this and that, and God, I'll never forget it. It was called a 36 power. Big John Kitchen was holding that bag. He weighed 300 pounds if he weighed an ounce. So they put that bag out there where the defensive end was going to be. And you cut it to the inside. Tom Smith was supposed to hit that bag. He didn't hit the bag. Puff. Just a puff. Mr. Vernon said, Tom, I want you to hit that bag. You're not any better than anybody else. I want you to hit the bag. Let's run it again. Run it again. Puff. And about that time, Mr. Vernon goes over to Tom Smith. If you want to control somebody, what do? You grab him by the helmet. Face mask, right? You can have that guy doing anything. Tom's like this, you know, and they went nose to nose. He grabbed that face mask. Tom's hands came up. Hands come off, the helmet come off. I'm standing over here, a little white guy looking like, what the hell's going on here? Big great white hope, the All-American, and oh my God, I was just, am I going to be next? They got nose to nose. And Vernon told him, in so many uncertain words, you're going to hit that bag, and you're going to hit it hard. Tom says, well, Kitchen can't hold that bag. And who was standing over there? Don Buck. I got the bag, Coach. Run it again. So here's old Don Buck. He grabs that bag like so. They ran it, and here comes old Tom, the All-American. He hit that bag. Buck knocked him back on his back, right in front of everybody. Right in front of everybody. So what's Tom say? He gets up and he says, let's play football. That's that desire. I'm sure there was a few other words stated later after that game, but that's what I remember. Don Buck was nobody's fool. In front of everybody, he knocked the All-American on his back. Only happened on the football field. It was a great honor, people, and I thank you very much.
Hey, Paul, you're off the hook now. Our next inductee is Sammy Minton. Split in on the 1971 state championship team, earning first team All-State recognition and represented East High School in the All-Star Shrine Game. He continued his football at Nyack Junior College. Remember that. Nyack Junior College, being named Junior College All-American Honors. He accepted a full-ride scholarship to University of Missouri, and after college, he worked at the Chevron Corporation in New Mexico for over 30 years in various work capacities. Now, I have a little Nyack story because I also went to Nyack, and I remember, Sammy, I think you're 2 years behind me, right? So I'm getting done with my Nyack career, and I'm getting ready to leave to go in UNI, and our football coach said, hey, I'm interested in this Sam Minton at East High School. Do you think you can talk to him and get him on up here? And I go, yeah, I think he'll do all right. And our Nyack football coach said, well, if we get Sam Minton up here, don't forget Charlie Aldrich real fast. I go, yeah, okay, whatever. So anyway, I go on, Sammy comes up, as I said, Junior College All-American. So while at Nyack, for some of you who've ever been there before, the Nyack campus is about 2 miles outside of Mason City, right, Sammy? And Mason City is here. And you got the main highway, but you also got a back stretch, kind of a back road that a lot of the students would take to go in and out of town. Speed limit on that thing was about 35, 40 miles an hour. Well, I come zipping down that thing in college. Man, right off the bat, cop pulls me over. I go, Jesus. Pulls out, can I see your driver's license? Pull out my driver's license. Oh, Charlie Aldrich, Nyack. You play football at Nyack? Yeah. From East High? Yeah. Okay, well, take it easy, okay, Charlie? Yeah, sure. Wow, okay, good. Man, in 2 years, I must have went up and down that thing 10, 12 times. Pulled over 10, 12 times, never got a ticket. Never got a ticket, because Charlie Aldrich. Okay, Nyack, East High, okay, good. Well, 2 years later, I'm gone. Sammy's up there, doing a great job, All-American. I come back for a visit. So I'm going down the old road. I come cruising down that road. Cop pulls me over. Zzz. I'm like, no big deal. Pulls out my wallet. I see your wallet, sir? Yeah. Charlie Aldrich. He goes, yeah? I go, yeah, played Nyack. Yeah? From East High School. Well, the only guy from East High School we remember is Sammy Minton. I go, what? I says, come on, man. He goes, Aldrich. No, it don't ring a bell. So, I want to tell you, if I had your address, I was going to send you that ticket, which is $35, god dang it, and I still got a copy of it, and I want you're going to pay part of this fine down to the Eagles afterwards. So, Charlie who? The East High Football Hall of Fame is proud to welcome into the Ring of Honor 2017 inductee Sammy Minton.
You got a crushing gift.
Thanks. Man, I'll take this out. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's really great to be here. I'm really honored. First, let me give thanks and praise to God for being here and blessing me to be able to receive this honor. I'm truly thankful and blessed for that. Also, too, let me thank and acknowledge my family and friends that are here. It's a special time, and I see so many people that I did play with and didn't, but I see some of the coaches that I played with. It was great to see Coach Kellerson again, Coach Grunwald. But let me acknowledge my family. My mother, Mary Minton, my brother, Theophilus Minton, and a special lady over there, Priscilla, her sister, Teresa. Oh, they over there. And to so many friends, Walter Reed Jr., Geneva Reed, Jimmy Russell, Robert Henderson, Michael Denton. It's just a special time. Thank you guys for being here and supporting me and being a part of this. And some of the other guys who I played with over the time, Norm, I see Norm, I saw Nick. It's great to see you guys, and it's just great to be here, and I just thank and praise God for that, and I just give him honor. I want to thank the committee for selecting me to this honor. I want to thank you. And to all the other inductees, it's an honor to share the stage with you, and I'm just thankful for that. As we go through life, and also to just my teachers and coaches in general, as we go through and I think about things and they come to you, and I remember so many good times about East High. Like so many of you, East High was a very special time for me, time of growth, time of learning and understanding, and a time of playing sports and excelling in sports, because we were part of a legacy that was special to this state and even to this nation. At one time, I believe East High, as many of you have made mention of, I believe had the longest winning streak in the nation ever at one time. And that was a very special time for us all, And football was so special to me, and I wanted to be a great athlete so bad that I can remember so many times, I'm sure, for Coach Kellerson and Coach Grunwald, it's so easier for us to as players, former players, to remember you than it is us, because there's so many of us that's been through the pipeline. But even at that, I can remember things like being told to me, and because you wanted to excel so bad, you held on to them and you strived in them. I can remember coaches telling me about desire, determination, dedication, and discipline. And I would hold on to those words so hard, and they meant so much to me, till I would go to class sometime, and we thought we ate, drink, slept football. And I can remember one time, and it was a moment that really kind of changed things for me. Yes, I enjoy sports a great deal, but I can remember a teacher, Mr. Saul Austin. I'm sure a lot of you might remember him. Matter of fact, him and my aunt was a couple for 30 years. But even before that, I can remember at my desk writing down desire, dedication, determination, and discipline. Things that I thought would make me a great football player. And he walked up behind me and he said, those same qualities will make you a great person. And I said, how is that? He said, apply them the same way in life that you do in football. Well, I'm 18 years old. Life to me is football, sports, and such as such. But as time went on, he planted such a seed in me that never left. And I always would think about that. And I remember when I left East High, I had a chance to go to UNI. I declined. And I remember after the first East-West Shriners game, I had a chance to go to Iowa, and I declined. I don't know, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't know, did I mention you, Billy? I just looked over there and saw you, I'm sorry. But anyway, it was a time when after that game, Billy was already going to Iowa, And I didn't want to go to Iowa either. I mean, I wanted to go somewhere I played wide receiver. I wanted to catch the ball. I didn't want to block for Billy all the time. But anyway, the opportunity came that I did end up going to NIAC, did pretty well up there. Had an opportunity to go to the University of Missouri and play with some players. I think Rick Upchurch was getting ready to leave. Tony Galbraith was there, Henry Marshall, those kind of players. And going into the fall, I had an opportunity to be starting, but I left school, and I didn't return. And in life, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have struggles. It's how you deal with them that makes you. And I can remember back Mr. Austin telling me, if you apply those same qualities that you're trying to apply on the football field to your life, you'll succeed. And I remembered that. For the seed he had planted to me, it had started to grow. And I didn't even realize it until I needed it. And I called up on it, and I said, well, I'm struggling. What am I going to do? I'm not struggling. I just didn't know what to do or how to go about what I wanted to accomplish in life. But I did. I started applying those things: desire, dedication, discipline, and determination. Things I thought only related to football sports, but they end up started being part of my life. And because of that, I was able to turn things around. I was able to grow as a person. I always loved sports, but I stopped putting sports first, and I started putting life first. And inside of me grew a character and an understanding that has brought me to this far. And I'm so thankful and blessed to be a part and enter into this Hall of Fame Ring of Honor with so many great players. And I'm just grateful and thankful to be part of it. And I just thank and pray God bless you all, and me and my family too. And I'm just thank you. Thank you, sir.
Rounding out our distinguished panel of inductees is Carl Montgomery. Carl was a tailback, strong safety, earning all-Metro, all-conference, and all-state recognition while accumulating over 3,000 yards in 2 years in offense during his rushing, catching, and returning kickoffs. He continued his career at Wartburg and was a 4-year starter at running back and helped lead them to number 3 ranking in the national polls. He graduated in public relations and marketing, moving to California and later Dallas, Texas, in a successful career in the insurance industry. Best story I got about Carl is, remember our junior season. Carl was a junior on a team that our seniors probably could have been a little better. And as juniors, you just kind of follow the lead of the seniors. And unfortunately, it didn't go as well as we'd like it to go. And at the end of the season, we had our last game against West over at Sloan Wallace, and I believe we got beat. And we're on the bus coming home, and the seniors are just kind of messing around a little bit. And Carl finally stands up and just calls them out. He says, hey, I don't care if you seniors listen or not, but I'm telling you what, you juniors better pay attention. We ain't going through this again. Next year, we're not going to have this type of season again. And he sent a message to them right then and there. He came up in a family with Will, Lou, Norm, his father, his brothers, who knew the work ethic. And he knew that was unacceptable. And he just pretty much told them, you're going to come to practice, you're going to listen to the coaches, and we're not going to do this. And he just went on and on and on. And those seniors, unbelievably, just sat there. And you'll notice a lot of those seniors are not in the Ring of Honor. And Carl, for 10 blocks, you're going on and on. And he just kept rolling. And we just said, okay, fine, because he sent a message. Then he kind of stepped the boundaries. Then he goes, and you coaches, okay, you better start getting us on this. And you coaches better do this. And you coaches better do that. And finally, Coach Shealy stood up and says, Carl, we got it. Leave it alone. Carl kept going. Shealy goes, Carl, we got it. Leave it alone. Yeah, but you coaches. Finally, Coach Kettleson kind of stood, looked back. Carl goes, I got it, Coach. I'll leave it alone. The Eastside Football Hall of Fame is proud to welcome into the Ring of Honor Carl Twang Montgomery.
time, Coach.
All right.
All the time. Wow. I'm truly humbled to receive this award and join a fraternity of other athletes who I admire and respect. I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the people who helped make this award a reality for me. In no particular order, I'd like to first mention the late Coach John Wagner for telling me in 7th grade that if I worked hard, I could be special. Junior high coach Bob Wright for giving me the ball and telling me to run and never stop running. Junior high coach and principal Bob Tyson for encouraging me to be a student athlete. Coach Charlie Aldrich for telling me to keep my head on a swivel and not just look what's in front of me, but also look at what's around me. Coach Roger Kettleson for challenging me and giving me an opportunity to be part of East High history. Davy Bryant for inspiring me. I'd also like to thank the late Principal Walter Cunningham for telling me to think before I act. The Moses brothers for their encouragement and setting the bar high. My brothers and my sister for their unconditional love and being good role models. My mother and my father for holding me accountable. My teammates for supporting me and allowing me to be part of a wonderful group of guys. My wife, Mashawn, for being here and helping me celebrate this honor. And last but not least, I want to thank God for giving me the talent and the ability to play this game. You know, I was taught never to brag. I was told if you're good enough, other people would do the talking for you. Thanks, East High, for talking about me today. God bless. Oh, thank you.
In closing, we got a few housekeeping items to wrap up. The 2017 inductees and all Ring of Honor members stay and come up, take a group picture for the celebration section of the Courier. I'd like to thank Brandy Magnuson, brother Ron back there will be taking pictures for us. We still have these memory DVDs. If you like some of the stories that you heard tonight, they're expounded on this. 8 coaches, 34 players telling in their own words their favorite memories of East High School. We have an after ceremony gathering invitation at the Eagles Club. I tell you, it's going to be a little cooler there than here. Everyone is interested. Come on down. You go right down 5th Street, turn on Sycamore Street to 1st Street, come right over there. And then Hankner, you're not on a time clock then. You can keep going. Let us finish the night off with the best note available. We'll bring up the East High Bruce Springsteen to lead us in the East High fight song. We'd like to have everybody stand up and let the walls ring. Don't worry if you sing off key, Neil. Neil, don't worry if you sing off key. Everyone else is off key. And let's hear it. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Da 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 da. Come on, wait a second. Let's get this going. Ready?
Okay.
Da 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 da. Cheer for East Waterloo. Wake up the echoes cheering for you. Send the volley cheer on high. Shake down the thunder from the sky. What will we have to be great and strong? East Waterloo will win over all. Our loyal sons are marching onward to victory. E-A-S-T-H-I-T-A.
I am a Trojan.
I am a Trojan.
I am a Trojan.
I am orange and black.
I am a Trojan.